So we're heading back to Valencia from Cebu, and this is the least amount of
Continue
traffic
for
I
4
have
kilometers.
ever seen. So I thought I would film it. I mean, as far as traffic goes, this is light in Cebu. So I left Negros last Sunday, and today is Sunday, and we're heading back. So 1 week to prepare a condo. When I say prepare it to be an Airbnb. So we did a handover of a condo, and this will be our third Airbnb unit. The other two are doing well, and hopefully this one does well. But man, everything is a process here. Everything. Turn that down a little bit, Ushi. Everything's a process. Just getting electricity turned on, or buying a water heater. I bought a water heater from Ace Hardware, and it didn't come with the pigtail. It didn't come with the. Imagine buying a water heater and not being able to hook it up because it doesn't have the power cable, and it takes a special power cable. It has to be the right, like 3.5 millimeter, 3-phase. Three separate wires inside of one. And I spent an entire day going to builder supplies and hardware stores, and they don't sell it anywhere. So I bought a water heater, and of course stores in the Philippines have a strict no return policy. So I had to fabricate a pigtail. Very frustrating. I had to go buy 3 wires, and you don't want that in your condo. But so I bought white electrical tape and taped it up nice, and it looks decent. But it's frustrating. Whenever you buy something in the Philippines, they test it right there on the spot. So you buy a TV, they hook it up. You buy a coffee pot, they hook it up. They prove to you that it works, because they wipe their hands clean at that point in time. If you have a problem with it, it's between you and the manufacturer. And how you get hold of the manufacturer and get that's on you. Like, in reality, you've got no one that's, the manufacturer's not going to do anything for you, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I just couldn't imagine in the U.S. the resellers who services it 9 times out of 10. But man, everything's more expensive here. Okay, when it comes to appliances is what I meant to say. So food obviously a lot cheaper, rent cheaper, everything for the most part, but appliances are, so when you're kitting out a condo, like TVs are so much more expensive here. It doesn't even make sense, because we're in Asia, and TVs are, I'm pretty sure they're all manufactured in Asia. I doubt we have any TV manufacturing plants in the US where labor is 10 times more expensive. So China, the Philippines is, you would think it'd be a lot cheaper, but nope. So to install, I took ownership of the condo, and then when you take ownership of it, there's things your condo needs. It needs a water heater, it needs a TV mounted on the wall, it needs a refrigerator, and I have to get a construction bond. So I had to pay the developer $100 and something, 5,000 plus pesos, for a construction bond, so that I could do work in my own condo, right? And you'd think, okay, well that's ridiculous already, because it's my condo. I should be able to do what I want in it. All right. Well, when you're done, you think they'd have to give you that money right back. No, 4 weeks they keep it. So you'd think you'd go tell them, hey, I mounted my TV, come check it out. They got to go in and look and inspect inside your condo. Everything is definitely harder here. Process is ridiculous, and I think the Filipinos are just, conditioned. They're just brought up not to. Americans, I shouldn't even say that, right? But just to give you an example, I bought this unit to be an Airbnb, and when you're Airbnb units, some people rent the same night. You'll get a you won't be booked, and then that night you'll get a booking. Well, you're meeting with the complex manager or whatever at the turnover, and he says, oh yeah, in our policies we need 4 days notice for any bookings, right? For any I'm like, well, I can't run my Airbnb like that. You can't just throw that on me. I bought this unit, I own it, and now you're going to tell me I need 4 days notice to inform you that I'm renting out my condo. And we bought another unit. So I can get in trouble. I can't say the name of this unit. Now, I'll tell you why here in 1 second. We bought a unit from a developer, from a well-known developer in Cebu. And we even let them know I was buying it as an Airbnb. When we were shopping for condos, we were telling the developers and telling the salesmen, hey, we're shopping for Airbnbs. So we let them know ahead of time. Paid off the unit, paid off the apartment, went to take ownership of it, and then at the turnover, they said, by the way, no Airbnbs allowed, no Airbnbs. I'm like, that's why I bought it. That's why I bought it. Imagine being upfront even, which some people aren't, being upfront with both the salesman and the developer. And then at turnover, them saying, hope, no Airbnbs allowed. I'm like, do I own this condo or not? So I started making video after video after video, and I used something called Microsoft Power Automate and added an entire database of Facebook pages and groups. And I let Microsoft Power Automate just run on my computer, and it would post these videos, these YouTube videos, to various, it'd sit there and cycle through the database of groups that I had. And it would post them on a daily basis until they were getting thousands of views. And I plugged every manager, any employee of that company. I plugged them all in this video, right?
In 500 meters, turn right onto Central Nautical Highway, General Maxilom Avenue Extension.
Sorry. And they started getting way more feedback on that than they wanted. And the developer said to me, look, take these down, look, and I said, no, I'm not taking them down.
Take the next right onto Central Nautical Highway, General Maxilom Avenue Extension.
Trying to find my way around here. I was irate, and I was
Continue on Central Nautical Highway for 800 meters.
I was going to make sure that the developer paid for this, right? For my inconvenience, because I paid all this money. So we came to an agreement after the developer was getting tons of negative feedback, just tons, and I'm sure it was hurting their sales. They bought back the condo from me for $15,000 more than I bought it for, right? Because it was, I refused. I said, no, I'm not taking it down. We can go to court. What you did is not legal. You can't do that, right? And of course I had to sign a NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, saying I would never mention this. That's why I can't say the name of the developer, but it was a prominent high-rise. But I caused such a stink, I got them so much negative publicity, they folded. And when they said, look, we'll buy the condo back, I'm like, yeah, you can buy it back, but now you got to pay for my time. See, you made me spend hours and hours and hours of my time, and my time's valuable, right? This is what my time's worth. And they weren't happy about that, but otherwise, the negative publicity was just going to keep on coming. It was just going to keep coming. So, yeah. But imagine buying a condo and being told you can't Airbnb your condo, right? That's the kind of stupidity that happens in the Philippines. And after I bought it, right? They never informed this, and they know that. If they had, that I wouldn't have had a leg to stand on, and they could have sued me. But imagine spending your hard-earned money, and it took me, I think I made payments on it for a year. Like, I didn't want to pay it off until handover.
In 300 meters, turn left onto Imus Avenue.
But, I was inconvenienced for more than a year of my time. So I could go on and on. There are so many benefits to living here. but there's so much you've got to adapt to. The people are great. This isn't a dangerous country. Like, man, I absolutely love being in the Philippines. But you're going to be inconvenienced on a daily basis. What a lot of the successful, I've come to meet and know several successful foreigners here, and usually what they'll do is they'll employ
turn left onto Imus Avenue.
It's relatively inexpensive to employ 1, 2, 3 people that are your assistants, and they just go take care of everything for you. You don't have to deal with the stupidity, right? You just let them deal with all that. And honestly, it works out better because when you're in
continue on Imus Avenue for 800 meters.
When you're a foreigner, there's always an upcharge. There's a skin tax on a lot of things. When you're in a taxi, they always want to give you the discounted rate, the special rate, the non-metered rate. I remember when I first went to the Philippines and I got a taxi. Now in the US at the time, if I wanted to cross town in a taxi, it was like $40. Taxis weren't cheap in the US, and I'm sure they're a lot worse now. I haven't taken one in decades. But I had to go somewhere in Manila, and right from the airport, I get in the taxi, and the guy's like, man, I'll give you special rate, $20.
In 400 meters, continue straight onto Pantaleon del Rosario Street.
So it sounded good to me, $20, right? But later on, I come to find out it would have been under $2. Like that, the metered rate would. So it was a 10x skin tax, right? You learn these things later, and if you ever get in a taxi, demand the metered rate. But I've been told that they even have a way, like a switch they can flip to make the meter count up faster. I don't know how true that is, but I've been told that. Oh, I got a GTR here. There's people with money in the Philippines, for sure.
Continue straight onto Pantaleon del Rosario Street.
So we've got about a 5.5 hour ride ahead of us. And it's only...
continue for 3 kilometers.
I don't know, 100, 120 miles or something from Cebu to Sibulan. Don't quote me on that. I know it's under 200. I think it's under 150, but it's because you drive like this the entire time. You're just always doing 20 miles an hour. You're lucky if you get to 35 kilometers an hour. And one of the frustrating things is if you're following your, I don't know if you can see these, by the way, I'll come back to it. They have these lights in the road that light up, and I don't know how they do it. If you can see that under that truck, I don't know if you can see it. But even in the day, they light up really good. I've never seen these in the US, and I don't know if they're electric or solar or just highly reflective so that your car light, that's what I think it is. But they're so bright, they look illuminated. They look as if they have electricity going to them. And I think those are the coolest things. But back to what I was saying, if you're not from the town you're driving through, and I guess you have the same thing in the US, right? Is that it'll say go straight, but a lot of times these people make 2 lanes, right? They make 2 lanes, and if you're not in the right lane, you don't know if you should be in the left or the right. You'll be forced to turn. And this happens to me all the time. It'll say go straight, but there'll be 2 lanes, and then there'll be dividers. There'll be like cones or something, or things stuck in the ground where you can't change your mind later. And then you're forced to turn, and it can be a 15-minute detour. Like, to get back on the road you were on, everything's convoluted here. It's not... The roads are not well thought out. They're not grid-like. It's more like spaghetti. I wouldn't even want that car here, honestly. Like, if I had the money for us, just to waste on a car here, it would be a 4x4 because the roads are horrendous. Like you'd just be beating the crap. I was driving that Nissan Navara, and I felt like I was beating the crap out of it. And it's a a truck that sits up high, and I just felt like I was throwing away money because you're just trashing your vehicle. So I basically bought a throwaway vehicle. Like that's the best way to operate in the Philippines, unless like I'd have to be stupid rich to have that car. Like it'd have to be a throwaway vehicle for me. I'd have to be wealthy enough that car is basically a throwaway vehicle. It's not like the US where you can just take care of your car. You can be driving and out of the blue, just big potholes and no choice but to go over them. No way to back up. Sometimes there's big, like the road goes up 6 inches. There's nothing you can do. You just have to go over it. Look at his license plate, GTR 100. I wonder if that's an actual plate or he just put some crap on there. This used to be my old stomping grounds, Cebu. And I used to love coming here. But now I loathe it. The traffic's gotten way too bad. It has grown tenfold since 2009. Tenfold. It is a bustling metropolis now with New York style traffic. And I discovered Valencia, which is, I love it. There may be something better than Valencia. I don't know. I'm gonna, as time permits, I'm gonna explore more of the Philippines and try to find maybe even a better hidden jewel, right? Like I've heard really good things about Iloilo. I want to check out Bacolod. The one thing Valencia misses, or is missing, sorry, is like a big mall. It has a dinky little Robinsons with nothing in it. It's half empty. It's just missing a big mall. I just ran that red light. You see this guy just peed on the wall right here. And perfectly normal, right? You can't just stop at a gas station. In the Philippines, you just pull off on the side of the road and pee wherever. No one bats an eye. Well, this is interesting because I do not remember going this way. And I don't know why I'm being routed this crazy way. I hope I'm going the right way. So, all right, well, I'm going to stop it for now. I'll be back later. Until next time. So I was talking about this earlier, and the road, the GPS tells me to go straight. So I'm going straight. And I'm in the left lane. And now I'm forced to turn left. And I know if I go left, it's going to add 15 minutes to my already 5.5 hour trip, right? So I got to get in that lane. But this is left turn only, so I'm just going to have to cut some people off. Or just sit here and piss all the people off behind me. But there's nothing you can do. There's no signs ahead of time telling you. Come on, man, let me over. Oh, you're cool. Oh my gosh. Look, you see this? Look at this. And you deal with this constantly. People that just I hope this isn't another turning lane. I don't ever recall being routed this way. And I've driven to Sibulan, which is where I'm going, Mayo shipping port in Sibulan, several times now. Oh, see this? Got the kid. He's got his kid with him. I'm assuming that he was kind of working that part of the street, like this kid here. They're panhandling. So I was talking about how good the traffic was earlier, and we're, just sitting in it now. And this is, again, why I prefer driving a scooter, is because I start feeling boxed in, right? Coming from the US, and I'm used to moving more. And when you're surrounded by vehicles and you can't turn, and you can't get out of what you're in, it's a very confining feeling. But on a scooter, you can, like this guy, he'll just keep weaving in and out. Last time I came here, I want to say it was 6 or 7 hours from Sibulan to Cebu. But under the right conditions, I think it can be like 3.5 hours. Like, if I just don't. Sunday's probably not a good day, right? Like, at least I imagine people are going to and from church around this time. Probably a weekday between 10 and 3 is probably the best time you could make this trip. Although 2 a.m. would be perfect, right? You'd probably make this trip in 2 hours at 2 a.m. This is going to be an 8-hour trip. I know it is. I know this is going to be an 8-hour trip. This is
You are in a
terrible.
5-minute slowdown. You are still on the best route.
But if this is all you know, right? Like, this is what you grew up with, and this is just all you know. Traffic sits still. Like, patience is a virtue here. be back with more later. All right, so here's a pretty typical road I've been riding on. I wish I would have filmed it earlier, but man, it was just, I couldn't imagine having a nice car here. It would beat the crap out of it, right? And if that were a one-off, that it would be, it wouldn't be that bad, but it's not a one-off. Like, roads are constantly under construction here. It's never ending. And look at this, see this bus? It could have got over. It's so common. It stopped and it could have got over, but it didn't. It chose not to. It chose to block half the road. So typical. So we're out of the city now. We're in, actually I don't even know where we are. But, you know, on our way to Sibulan. I've been driving for, I don't know, an hour to an hour and a half. And this is better. You know, I can get up to 60 kilometers an hour sometimes. But sometimes you'll slow down to 35 like this. And you can see, like, there's room to go, right? The car in front of this trike, there's, you know, there's hundreds of, I don't know, at least 100 yards in front of him where he could go. There's so many people on the road that just aren't in a rush. They've mastered the art of patience. So as a result, you have to master the art of patience. Where in the US, you'd be dealing with road rage. Some dude would be raging out because you're slowing them down. Let's see, like, look in front of that gray. There's nothing up there. And see, he doesn't get over. See, like, that's the frustrating part. Is they could leave you room to pass, but they don't. They just start getting over, and they'll stay in the middle of the road of both lanes. And we, you know, again, I'm just pointing out my frustrations here. I have my own frustrations in my country. The US has its own problems. So if you're a Filipino and watching this, don't take offense, right? I'm just pointing out the things that are frustrating to Americans here. If you go to the US, you're going to have things that are frustrating about Americans, right? And that's cool. You know, in America, you're going to get yelled at a lot. Like, you know, you might be working somewhere, and Americans are all entitled, right? So you know, I could sit and go on and on and on about the things that are frustrating in America, but don't sit here and think that just because I'm pointing out the things that are frustrating in the Philippines, that I'm hating on the Philippines. I'm just sharing what frustrations foreigners are going to run into that they may not be accustomed to in their country. So again, I'm here because I love this country. I have a daughter who's, you know, she's half. I'm trying to raise her, you know, to understand the culture. You know, I want her to speak Cebuano and have Cebuano friends, and I'm trying to master the language. I'm doing my best. Great, just stop right there. Yeah, slow down for no reason. That was great. I love how you just jammed on the brakes there. And see how he could be over, right? Like, you could be over. See what they like, that guy right there really pisses me off, really. Because they ride the middle of the road, the very middle. Like, if there's someone behind you, or you're not going so fast that no one can pass you, get over. Just get over. I wouldn't even have to go into the other lane. But no, that is the culture. The culture is, no, just take the middle. You know, screw them if they can't pass. If there's traffic in the other lane and they can't fit, there's no courtesy to other drivers. It's just and that's the part that frustrates me, because even though Americans are entitled a-holes, I don't know, I think there's at least a large portion of us that would want to be like, this guy's over, he gets it, this guy gets it. Some people get it. I know as a driver in the US, whenever I can do something that will, this guy pretty much gets it. See, some people get it. He's trying to leave me room. But some people just ride in the middle. That guy gets it. You're awesome, buddy. But those a-holes that just ride in the middle, that's a sense of entitlement in the Philippines that frustrates me. That lack of courtesy towards other drivers. It's zero inconvenience to you to ride on the right, you know, if you're on a motorcycle or a scooter, whatever you want to call it. There's no inconvenience to you to just be as much off to the right as you can. Oh, look at this. This is so refreshing. Just a wide open road for once. Do me a favor and let me know what you do or don't like about my videos, what you'd like to see or know about, what you'd like me to record. Let me know what could make them better. Are they too long? Someone complained about the windshield a while back. You know, I can't help it. They get dirty. You know, it gets dirty. As I did clean the car before I left, but the gas stations don't have squeegees here. You can't just stop and clean your windows, right? There is nothing free here. Nothing. Like, if you want to go to the bathroom, you got to bring your own toilet seat. And no, there's no toilet paper. You got to squat on the porcelain. Yesterday, me and Ushi went to Burger King because she wanted chicken nuggets. Like, there's like 3 things my daughter will eat, and sometimes as a result I have to drive 45 minutes to an hour in one direction just to get her chicken nuggets or the pizza she wants. So we went to Burger King and we ordered. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to, you know, it's already an hour and a half out of my day. I'm trying to get stuff done. So normally I hadn't eaten Burger King in probably 2 years or something. And believe me when I say that 99% of the time I don't eat fast food. But on this trip, trying to get things done, trying to save time, I violated my diet a few times. So I ate Burger King. We ate Burger King. And they gave us, you know, spent $13. I looked at it. It's not cheap. Like, you know, Burger King's actually an expensive meal here. It's probably as much as it is in the US. $13 was the price of our 2 meals. Well, and that's because I got some chicken nuggets for a homeless girl outside. Or it wouldn't have been that much, because chicken nuggets are like $4. It's like 200 pesos for a 10 count of nuggets. It's like $4. You can it's actually cheaper in the US. We would get chicken sticks for like 99 cents or something. But my point is, we got 1 napkin. 1. They gave us 1 napkin. Man, I mean, it's not that difficult. Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why did you stop? There's people here that, in my opinion, have no business driving. But you can just buy a driver's license here. There's fixtures for everything, right? And some people they just buy a driver's license. They don't know how to drive. No one's ever they don't even know the rules of the road, but they have a driver's license. I get it. Corruption runs deep naturally. This isn't a flaw of Filipinos, because it's a third world country, right? And if the average income is, and I don't even want to say average, you're like, at least when I was here before, you were lucky if you had someone in your family who was making $200 a month. You know, the family would have had to support that person to go to college, and they'd get a job for $200 a month. So imagine, 200 or 3, that's good. Just pull out there and stop. That's exactly what I would do, buddy. Just pull out and stop. Back to my story. You can imagine what $200 or $300 or $400 would motivate someone to do, right? If you work at the DMV, or you work at the BIR, wherever it is, wealthy people have the money to, buy whatever they want. A couple $100 is a lot of motivation here, a lot of motivation. And if you know the right person, you can get it whatever you want. It's just a matter of money. Money will buy it. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's the case in any third world country. It happens in Africa. It happens in the Philippines. It happens in Morocco. It happens in all over the world. A large majority of South America. Why? Look at this. He slowed down for that. You just baby that thing. You go ahead. Don't worry about traffic. Just now this right here. See? Look at this. Boom. Now, there's no reason for that bad transition, right? There was like 1.5 feet or 2 feet of a deep, whoever built the new road didn't meet it up to the old one. And man, I'm no expert with concrete, but I guarantee you, if I was pouring that on my first day of learning, I would have still met it up as best I can, because anything would be better than that. Anything. Right? And maybe they're like, well, the finishing guy comes back and does that. Great. When he comes back, he could tighten it up even better. But the road's up, right? That's common. Every time you'll see an old road meeting a new road, there'll be like 2 feet of dirt, and the dirt will have been wallowed out, and it'll end up with a 6 or 9 inch or massive hole that just destroys your car. And it's senseless. There's no logic to it whatsoever. Look around at a lot of these shacks, and they're just built out of anything, whatever spare things they could find. Some of them cardboard practically. I'm eager to get back and see what my builder's gotten done this week. He said he was going to make some really good progress this week on my property, so I'm very eager to see what's been done. When I bought that property, it was initially going to be a resort. I have a channel dedicated to it. Well, not just that, but... And... yeah, I had the intention of building a resort, and after multiple talks with my developer, we decided the best plan would be to sell off like 2/3 of it. It was just under 12,000 square meters, and keep 4,000 square meters for myself to put a house on and a couple of cottages. So ultimately that's what we ended up doing. Or what we are doing, I should say. So that's all underway, and hopefully in 6 months I'll have a nice house and we'll be working on some apartments, cottages, whatever you want to call them. Check back in a little bit. So today I put in, leaving Cebu, I put in Sibulan port, right? Which Sibulan is in Negros. And that's the port I go into to drive to Valencia. But normally I would put in, I would say Santander, and it would take me to Santander, and that's where we would board our Mayo shipping to cross the, the channel or whatever you want to call it. But this time, leaving Cebu, I put in Sibulan, which is in Negros, and it took me to a different port. So Google calculated that this is faster, and I hadn't been to this port yet. And it was easier to get to too, and it's closer. It's actually, because the other port is a good ways down that way, and this is right off the main road. You just turn right in, there's tons of space, there's no wait. Maybe it's just coincidental time of the day, Sunday, I have no idea. They got a couple different eateries. They got an eatery there, a little snack bar there, a snack bar there, a little eatery there, a couple of eateries across the street. So this is a different line. And it's a different ship too. The ships are different. It's a different design. Very cool, right? Yeah, they got some, I guess that's first class. If you want to spend the money for the soft seats, and maybe it's air conditioned, I don't know. So, all right, maybe we'll show you more later. Hold on. So not sure if you noticed, but I'm the only white guy on today's ride, on today's trip. I'm the token white guy. Curious to see if this lands in the same port that we normally leave from. So I thought this was interesting. I looked down there and that's how they're doing their laundry. That's a whole bunch of shirts, and they just put a rope through them, and they're dragging them behind. So that's how they're doing their laundry. The crew. I think that's hilarious.